All right, all. Um, Welcome to the March 12th, 2026 installment of the Long Coffee Break. Today I have Greg from Vibro Acoustics joining me. I'll have him introduce himself here shortly. But a little teaser question for the consulting engineers and the installing contractors in the audience. What do you do when tasked with meeting sound criteria on a project? You're the specifying engineer that's tasked with meeting some sort of sound criteria, and you're specifying equipment and associated duct systems that generate and transmit noise, but you don't have the fee for the acoustical services on this job. If tasked with this, how can we help you out? And how could you, as a consulting engineer, help out the project? To help us answer that and kind of run us through some services, Greg, if you can introduce yourself and take it from here. Oh, Greg, you're muted there.
Man, I don't know how many times that's been said in a Teams meeting before.
Right. Post-COVID.
God,
Yeah.
how old am I? Jiminy Christmas.
Hey, you don't have to tell us.
Yeah, I'm Greg Schmaling. I'm with Vibro Acoustics. I'm regional sales manager. I have kind of a sordid story with the company. I was with them for 5 years as a regional sales manager, then became a sales rep direct for them in St. Louis, and then came back after another 5 years. So altogether, I've been with them 15 years. And actually, at one time, a long time ago, I had Long as one of my sales reps. So I'm very excited to be back and getting an opportunity to work with Long and their customers. But as we discussed, and as Matt alluded to, we kind of come to market a little differently, and that is through and I hate to say the word free, but it is a complimentary design assist called the lay-in service, where we help you meet indoor and outdoor lot line sound levels with a guarantee. We have a gentleman on board with us. His name's Carl Peterman. He has PE stamps in all 50 states and is also an acoustician as well. I refer to him as Sheldon Cooper, but Carl is a great guy. Carl is amazing, and he is the one that looks after and stamps all of our projects as they go out, and we apply that stamp to our sound solutions on a number of fronts, and we'll get to that. This is a marketing piece that our marketing team put together. They highlight the areas where, and I'm not even going to touch on all of them because we do not have the time today, but note just about anywhere you might have a sound or noise concern, we can address that through some sort of acoustical treatment. And what we do, and I guess it leads to how we test, is us as an industry, as a silencer provider. You have a number of choices out there of manufacturers you can work with. We are all testing our silencers out of our catalogs, if there is still such a physical thing as a catalog, to this ASTM E477 standard. The most recent version is a 2020 version. That standard tests for insertion loss, DIL, dynamic insertion loss. It is the acoustical absorption within each octave band that that particular silencer affords, along with its static pressure drop. What we want to beg the question is, and if you know, what duct lengths are used in this testing standard? And I know we don't have a whole lot of time for question and answer, but I need you to kind of ponder that. You know, and some of you may know, but what ASTM E477 requires us is to put 5 duct diameters of straight ductwork before the silencer and 10 duct diameters of straight duct after the silencer. before any flow disturbing device. So that's how, and you should see out of any manufacturer of silencers, how they have rated their silencers in their catalogs. The cruel irony of the whole thing is that that real estate is never available. Even ASHRAE states 3 to 5 duct diameters before any flow disturbing device. We don't see that on maybe 15% of the projects we look at. In fact, our stats show that 85% of current projects we look at do not have this available real estate.
Mm-hmm.
So therein lies the problem. You're going to have a silencer out of a catalog that has a static pressure rating. But what is that going to look like when it's put into the field? Well, we have done computational fluid dynamic analysis, CFD analysis, on placing an elbow right before a turn. And in fact, if you want to take this graphic in your mind and kind of turn it 90 degrees, where you might be looking at the supply side of a air handling unit, and we put a silencer just out before we have to make this turn. Well, if you pick that silencer out of the catalog, it's going to show a 0.15 inch static pressure or pressure drop at 1,000 feet per minute. However, during computational fluid dynamic analysis, we actually show that that pressure drop with system effect is over 5 times what the pressure drop in the catalog would show. So our solution in this particular example is an elbow silencer. We also kind of pound our fist asking that any silencer schedule presented in a set of bid documents show that pressure drop with system effect. So, as I alluded to earlier, we provide what we call a lay-in system or lay-in service, just kind of giving us some credibility. Here is our recent laboratory that we have the latest version built out in our laboratory, which is in Ajax, Ontario, Canada. It is absolutely 100% state of the art. It was NavLab approved in March of 2025, and we are actually have been contracted by ASHRAE to do updates to the testing standards in our lab. So whenever you open up an ASHRAE book and we look at sound data for particular silencers, that data is actually coming from us and our sound lab. But as I was alluding to and mentioned earlier, when we come to market, we want to see a schedule of silencers that not only in the ideal world, which is our laboratory, has pressure drop column, but also, as I've highlighted there, a silencer pressure drop with maximum system effect, so that you know what to go back and then size your equipment to be able to handle as far as pressure drop, whether that means increasing brake horsepower or looking at in the case of where you have shivs and belts, making those have the proper sizes and alignments. This is what we believe to be essential to looking at how your systems get laid out or designed and your equipment gets selected. I've also highlighted down below one of the things that we do put. So this is an example of a lay-in that we've done. And down at the bottom, I've highlighted note number 8, which basically puts the onus on the manufacturer of the silencer to meet that static pressure drop and demonstrate it as it would be installed. And then if a non-basis of design product is supplied, the contractor, say they went out and bought somebody else's silencer, they're financially responsible for making corrections, not only to the pressure drop, but also the noise sound levels in the space. These notes are an insurance policy for you and your teams. As a part of this lay-in process, when we say lay-in, and this is kind of where it comes from, we actually will take your mechanical drawings and show where those silencers need to be laid in. And this is just an example of one of the drawings that we've laid in. So in order to provide a lay-in, what do we need from you? We need, first off, the mechanical drawings, including the ductwork, the sound levels required, whether that comes from an acoustical consultant's report. If you have an acoustician on the job, we're here to play nice with them. We're not here to take away their job. What we're here to do is verify that mechanical side of the business with the pressure drop. Or if you have NC ratings for indoor space that you need to hit, or DBA level for property or lot line applications, and then finally the sound data for the equipment. So these are the three things we need to provide a lay-in. It typically takes 3 to 5 business days for us to turn around a lay-in. If you need it quicker, please just let the long team know and we will do it. Please just try not to do it on a repeated basis. We have a full team at Long's disposal to help do this, but doing quick turnarounds is not unheard of. We just don't like to do it on a repeat basis. Here is an example of an air-cooled chiller where we had to attenuate right at the system itself. And so we provided this solution where we actually built an enclosure and provided intake and discharge silencers with very, very minimal pressure drop. Less than, in some cases, less than 0.10 inches of static pressure, because we know those fans cannot handle that sort of any sort of increase, dramatic increase in pressure drop. Here is this same solution on steroids for a data center application. In fact, it was designed to be fully assembled on the ground and then lifted onto the roof of the data center. One of my last slides is, if you need or require PDHs or CEUs, please work with the Long team. I have a full hour-long presentation that kind of goes into some of the nitty-gritty of some of the applications and into further details. It qualifies for 2 PDH or CEUs. So if you need that, please reach out to your Long representative. And that is the end of my play. This is now, I'm going to turn this back over to Matt and let him finish up the show.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. I appreciate it. I think, yeah, if you've never taken advantage of the Vibro acoustic lay-in service as a consulting engineer, give it a try. It usually makes a better project and certainly a tighter specification. All right, wrapping things up here. Just want to tease a little upcoming event here. Please join us on Friday, April 3 for Rocky's home opener. Long will be downtown again hosting our tailgate adventure for that day. Reach out to your Long sales engineer and they'll have more information for you if you've not received it already. Please contact your Long sales engineer and claim your prize, which can consist of either a $100 pickleball gift card, a portable Bluetooth karaoke machine, or the Screaming Goat stress reliever. Next week, please join us for the Long Coffee Break as our very own Billy Donovan presents on Critical Room Controls Integrated Room Solution. Thank you all for joining us. Have a great day.